What is up, RotoGrinders? 2 hours nonstop NBA DFS conversation starts right now, taking y'all up the lock, 7 o'clock on the East Coast. These sites did not cooperate, DK and FanDuel. DK, they cut the slate off at 8:30. 8:30 on the East Coast, meaning they left off the Jazz and the Blazers and the Warriors and the Clippers. That is on the FanDuel slate. So FanDuel, 2 extra games. And as far as injuries, body parts, things are monitoring. Most of the information is in, but one of the more important pieces, James Harden, midday downgrade to questionable. He's in that late game on FanDuel. He's got a shoulder. Ace Bailey also is questionable for the Jazz for whatever that is worth. Otherwise, most we got clarity on a lot of questions. Steven Adams is one of the bigger ones for Houston, officially questionable, and that's more meaningful because Şengün is out for Chops Rockets. Otherwise, I think we're pretty clean. We do know that anybody who plays for the Denver Nuggets and that you've heard of is not playing basketball tonight. Their entire starting lineup is out. They're playing the back half of a back-to-back. Other teams in the back half of a back-to-back. It's Denver, Detroit, Phoenix, and the Thunder. The suddenly vulnerable OKC Thunder. They're 6-5 in their last 11. Almost a 500 team. Small samples, but looking like Denver's going to have 9 tonight because, again, anybody you ever heard of that plays for Denver is not available for them. Arguably, their 7 best players. Arguably, their starting lineup, and then 2 more. Tim Hardaway and Jonas Valanciunas. I guess maybe Peyton Watson is one of their 7 best players. Maybe he's the 6th or 7th guy. Myself and Chop, we're here for the next hour and change. We yield to Notorious, as well as Beer Makers Fan, and Roth coming in for crunch time about an hour and 10 minutes. You got us for the next hour and change. It is a Movie Monday as well. We'll drop that first clue in a second. Chopper, happy Monday. Your Cowboys, their season's over. You ended on a great note. Like you played 4D chess. That was the 4D chess.
Man, you ain't lying.
Yeah, I mean, it was brilliant. I mean, the Giants, they are such suckers. They'll just take the W's any way they can get it. Winning the last 2 games of the season, falling from 1 potentially to 6. I don't know.
What idiots!
Just
even the number 2 pick, Dean? Even the number 2 pick, there's going to be 2 good quarterbacks. Like even the number 2 pick gets them whatever they want in trade value for any team out there that wants like whatever they want in trade value for any of these teams that are starving for a quarterback. 5, you're not getting. You ain't getting nothing from. You're going to have to make the pick at 5. Sorry, Steve. Sorry, producer Steve.
The interim coach win. Again, it happened. I love when the interim coach because they're not going to be, I don't know if they're going to be there or be on the staff or whatever, who even knows next season. The best one ever was the dude for Houston. I'm forgetting his name now. Was that
Lovey
Smith?
Lovey? Yeah, Lovey was the
winning like a 2-point conversion, right? It was like
that worked out, Dean. That worked out for them. That worked out for them. If they got the number 1 pick, then they would have went with Bryce Young probably.
And they took Stroud instead, correct?
And then they ended up getting Stroud, but yeah, it was a good weekend, Dean. The Cowboys lost. That was a pleasant surprise. When I saw how that game was going, I don't like to toot my own horn, Dean. I'm not that guy. But when I saw how that game was going, and I knew in my head that nobody said anything, but I knew Dak's only going to play a half, man. That's it. He's only going to play a half. I know
there was speculation, but nobody knew the actual.
But I just knew, man. I could tell by the way everybody was talking all week, and I was like, oh man. And when I saw the Giants come out and actually take a lead, I was like, boom, let's hammer the Giants live because Joe Milton's coming in at half. And Joe's not going to get it done. So luckily I got there on that one, Dean. It was a good weekend for that. Got a better draft pick there for the Cowboys. Don't know if you've been keeping up with the hot stove, Dean. My Houston Astros.
Who did you sign?
Tasia Imai out of the Japanese league.
I know. I saw the Blue Jays got a Japanese player as well. I don't know what. I got to be honest. I don't know much about these players.
Imai is going to be a star, Dean. He's got it. He's got it. He's got it. The quality, that competitive fire. He's got it, Dean. I like what I see out of him.
You watch the mixtape?
Seen some tapes of him in Japan mocking Trevor Bauer when he faced off against Bauer, like mocking him. No respect for him. I like that. I think he's got it, Dean. I think he's got it.
Like the lack of respect.
Yeah, for Bauer and the Dodgers. He hates the Dodgers. Doesn't want to go and join a team that's already like winning championships. Says, I'm not doing that. I want to win one with a team that's not ready-made already. So I like his spirit. I like his fire.
Where does he play? What position?
He's a pitcher. He sits
Okay.
about.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah.
This is about 95 or so on 95 plus on the fastball. Then he's got a little slide piece working, little change up, a little curve. I like what we're doing here. So yeah, nice weekend for me, man. The Cowboys lose, get a better draft pick, bump the Giants out to number 1 and number 2, and get Imai coming on my team. And yeah, man, don't mind it. The Thunder are in free fall. West is wide open now again. Yeah. I'm not praying on anybody's downfall, but I don't hate that Jokic went out for a couple months here. That'll hurt my feelings too much.
By the way, Giants 5 now. You said 2. Yeah, it's officially I pulled up the Tankathon. They got the 5th pick. Vegas, Jets, Arizona, Tennessee. I guess the Giants were the only team that were 4-13. That's odd. But yeah, the first 4 teams that I ran off 3-14. So I assume unless there's some coin toss stuff that I'm missing, I think that's the order, or at least according to Tankathon.
It's actually so the rest of it is decided by the playoff finishes. Who gets bounced in the playoffs? The other spots have already been determined. They use use strength of schedule. If you got a tie record, they use strength of schedule. So that stuff's all been determined. I feel Giants. I mean, if they lose, they're number 2, right? Even that game. Because you can't assume the Raiders are going to also lose. Maybe the Raiders won because the Giants.
No, the Raiders had it locked up at some point in the middle. Yeah, I think they could
because the Giants lost. That's when the Raiders locked it up.
I'm not sure. I haven't.
Yeah, no. Well, I am sure, Dean. I'm telling you right now. So the Giants won. The Raiders had it locked up, so they went out and won. But let's say the Giants lose. Even if the Raiders go out and win, you got the number 2 pick if you're the Giants. You're either 1 or you're 2 if you just lose that game.
Mm-hmm.
You're 1 or you're 2. So they blew it. So I'm happy. I'm happy with the way it turned out. Respectfully to all those Giants fans. It's not like we're fighting with the Giants here. They stink anyway. But we're here, Dean. We're doing it. We got football. We got this week college playoffs, and we got 4 straight days of playoffs. College, NFL. 5 straight days. College, NFL.
Is
Thursday through Monday.
Is college Thursday, Friday?
Thursday, Friday, NFL, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It's going to be a hell of a week, Dean. Get your playoff best balls teams in. Don't forget about that.
I haven't drafted any yet. I'm still thinking about if I want to dive in or not. I feel like I might have missed the boat because there's probably some really, really good teams out there that are set up. A lot of dead teams too. A lot of dead teams as well. But. Yeah,
not dead team. Get in there, Dean. You gotta make some predictions.
Well, a lot of people have been drafting for a while, and there's they have I was going to say Chiefs, Ravens. Like they have Ravens line the stacks that obviously have no shot now. Movie Monday, Chop. Movie Monday. Tell me what movie I'm talking about in the Discord channel, rotogrinders.com/Discord, the live stream chat channel. Be the first person to tell me what movie I'm talking about. You get a week free of RotoGrinders Premium. Football based. You can get all the content to help you take down some of those the big boy contests for football this weekend. Golf is coming back soon, I believe. UFC. Any DFS sport you can think of, not NASCAR, but NASCAR is not a thing right now until it is, I think, the week after the Super Bowl, I believe. First clue, it is scrolling, Chop. Wonder. Well, Wonder is the first clue currently scrolling. Let me know in the Discord channel what today's movie is for Movie Monday. The slate. It's all about Denver, right? It's all about Denver on this slate. Well, I shouldn't say all about them, but their team total is really low, but there's just a ton of cheap players here. They're down to 9. I'm hitting some optimal stuff, Chop, and seeing three hitting most every single lineup, 4 for some. The Pistons look really good, namely Paul Reed. We'll talk about them in a second. I think that's the first game, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's the first game on the slate. It is the only game at 7 o'clock. And then there's a lot of really good stars to pick from as well. Dealer's choice when it comes to a plethora of superstars, SGA, Danny Avdia. That's more on the FanDuel slate, of course, only in the FanDuel slate. Jalen Johnson without Trae Young. Rumor is Trae Young is open to a trade. Atlanta should be open to a trade to move him out of there too, but that's a different conversation. Jaylen Brown, he's fuming. He's upset. He was not the player of the month because everybody cares about player of the month. He probably should have been. He's probably right. He's been amazing, but apparently he's upset he was not player of the month. He's been phenomenal. You don't like give me screenshots, Chop. You have an overview before we kind of dive in on the slate. It's Denver, some Detroits, and then superstars because Detroit helps you get Superstars, I feel like you can get 2 to 3, 2.5, depending on how you define superstar. It feels like a stars scrubs slate to me. The Denver scrubs, and then pick 2 or 3 of your favorite stars, and there you go. Is that kind of how you see it?
Yeah, a lot of nuggies. You said Jaylen Brown, he's fuming over Player of the Week, Dean. You said he's fuming?
Yes.
Who do you think now is after yesterday's games, who do you think is the NFL MVP now? Did Drake May do enough to hold off Stafford, who threw for another 4? Somebody just told me, a Boston guy, big Boston fan, told me,
Kirkwood?
I'm not mentioning no names, Dean. I'm just saying a Boston fan. Could have been Gomes. It could have been anybody.
Yeah.
Gomes
is a fake Boston fan.
Told me Drake May does not care about an MVP. Does not care about winning an MVP. It's nothing in him that wants to win the MVP. Do you think that's true? Do people not want to win the MVP? Yeah. Not even just a little bit?
I mean, if you say, hit this button, do you want the MVP or you not want the MVP? Which button is he pushing? He's pushing MVP. Does he maybe care about it less than other people? Possibly, maybe. Like Joker might actually push the no MVP button because then he doesn't have to talk about like a press conference or whatever. But I think he cares enough about it. And yeah, and Stafford, this is his only chance, right? This is basically it. I would imagine he's never going to have a chance as good as this year. I would guess that he probably cares about it more. I thought it was strange that if I'm following this correctly, wasn't May a pretty heavy favorite, 2-1 favorite, and now Stafford? I'm looking at FanDuel. Stafford's minus 180, and May is 45.
So 2 weeks ago, it was like Stafford was a roughly 2-1 favorite. Then they had that game where Drake May threw for like 5 touchdowns. Right? Remember that one? It was like a week ago.
We played 3 quarters. Yeah.
Like 2 weeks ago, Drake May threw for like 5 touchdowns against the Jets, who are terrible. I think it was the Jets. The real time odds jumped on Drake May after that game, and after the Stafford lost his game, the real time odds jumped to like Drake May like minus 500 at one point. Like, so we're so prisoner of the moment. Like, and now it's back to after yesterday. Oh, Drake May, I don't even think he threw for a touchdown yesterday. But that was by game plan design.
Could have if he wanted to, but like he didn't need to.
And then Stafford throws for 4, and now all of a sudden Stafford is back to the favorite. So such a fluid. I mean, I don't know about all that. That's all weird stuff, Dee. I don't know if you caught we got the poly markets now and all. It's all just. What do you do with all this?
I feel like there's money to be made in those. I have not fully dove in the cow.
Yeah, but it's all insider stuff, man.
It's also like taking advantage of people's. It is, yes, but also taking advantage of people's, prisoner of the moment stuff, preconceived notions, and overreacting to the now, and like not having a big picture outlook. The counterpoint, I guess, is that New England's a 2 seed, and the Rams are a 5 seed, and I guess you can, whatever. I don't like the whole. You could argue both have been spectacular, and why do we have to pick one? I guess you have to pick one because you got to give the reward to somebody, but. Either guy who gets it, fine. It was deserved. That's it. Like I know you're supposed to be upset if your guy doesn't get it, but
the Boston Homer said Drake May doesn't care. So who knows?
All right. I did buy some Stafford like plus 200. I thought the number was too low. I did that. Yeah, I did that 2 days ago, something like that. I thought the number was too low, but okay. Let's talk about the slate. By the way, in the Discord channel, let's see, do we have any winners just yet? It is not The Natural, but that is a very good guess. Or Charlie and the Chocolate Factory or Princess Bride, which I saw for the very first time about a month ago or so. I know it's a movie I'm supposed to have seen many times in my life. It's not The Founder either. That's also a really good movie about McDonald's. Okay, first game. Let's do it, Chop. Anything you want to say as far as the slate, or shall we just dive in and knock it out?
Dive, like Greg Louganis.
We got to update that reference. Who's a more famous diver of the last 20 years?
Can you name a famous diver besides Greg Louganis?
Oh man, I feel like I should be able to. If you said the name, I'd probably know it, but I don't think so. I don't know if I have.
No, you can't name one. Nobody can. Greg Louganis was the pinnacle.
Yeah, he famously banged his head on the board, and I think he still hit the podium. I don't know if he got first, but I think he got.
You Google famous diver, that's the first name that comes up still. So
who's the second name?
Tom Daly.
Never heard of him. So I would have guessed golfer.
Well, that's John. Yeah.
So that goes to show you how far and away Luganis was in the diving world.
Isn't like now it's like the cliff diving or like the Red Bull stuff? I don't know. Like obviously that's not Olympic stuff. I think that's a big deal. Like just jumping from like hundreds of feet is kind of an event these days. Jacques Cousteau, that's a good answer. It's a different interpretation, but it is a good answer in the chat from CW. Didn't have to be dive board diving. New York, Detroit, 231.5. That's the total. It's pretty high and it's tight, right? Detroit is just a 1.5 point dog. And we have some players that are out here, so Detroit is popping to some degree. Tobias Harris is not playing basketball tonight. He's got that ankle. The big one is Jalen Duren. Jalen Duren's out, they say, for a week or so, give or take, with his ankle. Karis LeVert is also doubtful. Again, worth mentioning, back half of a back-to-back here for Detroit. Duncan Robinson is available, good to go with his calf. As far as New York, Josh Hart is still out. Landry Shamet is still out. So Paul Reed is projecting awesome. It's not the best matchup here against New York. Don't love that matchup, but he's just not priced the way he should be for this projected matchup. He's a pretty good fantasy point-minute player. I guess it's worth noting he didn't close last game. He played like 2 or 3 minutes of the fourth quarter last game. He still played like 30 minutes. I think I'm just going to play Paul Reed. Like we're projecting him for 27 minutes. Just kind of conservative, possibly. Maybe that's right. That's in the middle. I agree with that number. And he's more than a fantasy point-minute player. He's 3.8K on DK specifically. How do you not play Paul Reed, Chop? We're playing Paul Reed, right? He's 4-2 on FanDuel, and you can only play one center. Still, he's your cash game center, if nothing else. Is he just a lock button? How many lineups do you make when you're not playing Paul Reed?
I don't know. That'd be a tough one. I mean, I guess the detractor would be nearly 60% ownership on him, roughly. Tonight. That's a big number in GPPs. I guess you could get away in large field and hope, the foul trouble could catch him or something like that. You never know. So, yeah, that's about the only reason, though, because, he's an elite guy when he's on the floor. He's just never really gotten that big chance to shine because he's not a great real-life player, but he gets some minutes tonight, which he should with Durant out, then he should be good. But there's a lot of pieces in this game that are getting ownership and that are pretty good. Cade Cunningham's a big time, star on this slate. This is kind of a small slate, so he's great. Isaiah Stewart, fantastic play if you like that kind of a thing. Asir's okay against the Knicks. Great battle versus the other wings for the Knicks. Should be a fun showdown right there. Yeah, so you got that working. On the flip side, Jalen Brunson, 40 fantasy points, Dean. 40-plus fantasy points. 14 of his last 15 games. Big-time consistency from him. Doing well. Cat's another big performer for this team. Josh Hart's still out for them, so everybody gets a little bit of a boost in that lineup, but Cat and Brunson are the two I'm really looking at. Cat's matchup here in this one gets a little bit better, too, with Paul Reed starting, so – I like all aspects of this game. Like I said, you're going to get nearly 20% on about 4 of these players in this game, ownership-wise. And then Paul Reed, who's going to be, I think, roughly around 60. So there's a lot of ownership being dedicated to this very first game. But I like it, though. It's a good matchup for fantasy purposes.
The chat is saying Capella, which is pretty interesting because, Şengün is out. We'll talk about the Rockets soon enough. Şengün's out, and Steven Adams is questionable. And if Adams doesn't go, Şengün already out. Capella's an interesting pivot off of Paul Reed. Of course, you can play them both. We have an if-then set up for Capella, and if we happen to not have Steven Adams, we're giving Capella 24 minutes, 26 DK, 27 FanDuel. So that's a median score in our if-then.
Okay. I would say, so to answer your first question, round back around to it.
Yeah.
How can you get away from Reed? Actually, I think before the Denver news broke around lunchtime, it was a lot harder. It's a lot easier now, if we're being quite honest. It's a lot easier to find a below 4K guy on DraftKings now with the Denver news, because Denver is a gold mine that we're going to talk about later. But that's how you get away is somebody like that, Capella or one of those Denver guys that nobody's picking up on yet, which we'll talk about.
Yeah, Holmes is one of the Denver options we'll talk about soon enough. And if you sort by point per dollar specific to DK, Reed is actually the best point per dollar play, beating out Strother, beating out Pickett, beating out Brown, beating out Holmes, beating out Jones, beating out Tyson. But the first one is Reed. This is fantasy points per dollar on DK. The next 6, if I'm counting that right, possibly 7, at least the next 6 are Denver Nuggets. So we're going to talk about Denver because they're so cheap. And, you got to play 5 guys, and they're going to score, I don't know, 90, maybe 100 points, something like that. And they're all pretty cheap collectively. Cunningham, where do you have Cunningham, Chop, against SGA? Against Tyrese Maxey, against Booker, I guess we can say. I don't think
Jalen Johnson.
Who?
Jalen Johnson. You missed out. Jalen Johnson.
I was thinking the position.
Just the position. Oh, okay. Yeah. Who? Cunningham. The best one out of those guys, I think.
I think he's the best point guard too.
I think he's the best one.
Yeah.
Just a lot of things in his favor. Like, it's a matchup with the Knicks, man. The Knicks are top of the standings along with them. It's one of those kind of games, and so it probably means a little bit more. And so, yeah, Kate Cunningham will be at the top of that list for me.
It's oh boy, I'm just now realizing, God, Denver is screwing over Peacock. They're screwing the cock. Denver, they're in the back half of a back-to-back. It's the first game of the Peacock doubleheader. Murray's not hurt. Just to be clear, like, Murray's not hurt, right? They're resting. Obviously, they're without a bunch of people, but they're just punting the game off. Despite being a national, we call it that national TV. I don't know if we're calling it that. It's a national platform. I guess they have 3 games on Peacock. That's weird. They have New York. I was thinking this game would be on the Peacock because I thought I saw it earlier. It is 7:00. Then they have an 8:30 game on Peacock, and then the 10:00 game, Golden State and the Clippers. But I guess it's not like one channel. It's just the app, so you can have multiple games going on at the same time. Man, they must be fuming, right? You got to imagine they can't be happy that Denver's kind of screwing them over.
It happens.
Yeah, I mean,
just keep on, signing them checks, Peacock, to the NBA, but that happens, man. Maybe one day we'll get over all this stuff and make sports great again.
You think they're gonna not play 82 games? Are you serious? They take less money? That's not a solution. Less money is never a solution.
Maybe they should. Maybe one day they'll implement a rule that if you're a player and you don't play, you don't get that game check.
Oh, well, no, that'll never. There's no way.
Well, there's a lot of things.
Then they'll play. They'll do the Josh Allen. They'll play.
There's a lot of things, Dean. There's a lot of things that you would have said no way 5 years ago. You said no way 5 years ago. A lot of things.
Derek in chat. Will this be the first time Embiid will play against Denver? Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Oh, good. I like that one.
I'm good to go.
I like that one. I'm a good Embiid hater as much as anybody else, so I like that joke.
He's cured of his jokeritis. Yeah. We'll talk about Denver soon enough. Anything else as far as New York and Detroit? Who was your favorite player in New York? It sounded like you were touting up Brunson as your favorite player.
Ooh, I mean, it's always between those two guys. I'll lean Cat tonight because of the matchup.
Yeah. Except, you're playing Paul Reed. But Cat's power forward, right?
Maybe playing Paul Reed.
Oh, he's center only. On
maybe,
DK.
Maybe you can get away from Paul Reed.
Yeah. It's possible he doesn't close, I guess. He didn't close yesterday. They closed smaller yesterday. I was looking at their lineup. Javonte Green closed for them, but I'm trying to remember who their opponent was. I can't think of it top of my head for some reason.
Cleveland.
Which is interesting, right? Because that's a bigger team.
I mean, listen, I get Paul Reed. He's only 38. You got some injuries that's going to give him a boost. But, people shouldn't act like Paul Reed is like, I don't know, man, who I could compare him to. When somebody goes out, and the next guy steps in.
Jonas Valanciunas.
Something, maybe, he's that's fine. I guess decent. But Paul Reed's not that guy, Paul Reed has these abilities to slip up on the banana peel, man. Right when he's super chalky, for sure. He could get in foul trouble. That's his MO. He could have a non-productive game. He can have that too. I've seen that from him before. And he can just flat out get the rug pull on minutes. That could happen too. He could just go out there and look like a buffoon against Karl Anthony Towns, and the coach could go, you know what? Let's take a little break, Paul. You're gonna get about 16 minutes tonight. All that could happen. So I don't know. I'm not treating Paul Reed like he's be all end all chalk. But with one lineup I'm running in small field, I'm probably playing him.
Jenkins got a bunch of run yesterday. He closed for Detroit. I'm not sure how repeatable that is. It's certainly possible. Cade, Jenkins, Duncan Robinson mostly closed. Beef Stew mostly closed. And Javonte Green played the entire fourth quarter, which probably not likely to be repeated, but possible. Second clue for today's movie Monday chop. I noticed you didn't guess in the first one. That's fine. Big is the second clue. Wonder and Big. That is our first two clues. Get that Discord channel. Tell me what movie I'm talking about.
That's interesting.
It is not Willy Wonka or Wonder Woman or Life of Pi. Lots of guesses coming on.
That was a good movie. Life of Pi was a good movie.
I saw it once and once only, and I remember it was kind of trippy. But I was just going to spoil it. I won't spoil it. Never mind. But
the big is interesting. I don't want to give away nothing.
Don't give the answer if you know the
answer.
No,
I'm not even going to guess. But you know what I think of when you give me the clue big?
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
So if you're saying Tom Hanks and you're that quick to tell me Tom Hanks, it's not Tom Hanks. Okay, back to the drawing board.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't be the movie Big if the second clue was Big. Like, that'd be the end of the game, right?
Well, no, but you'd be like, it'd be one of those things. Big, who starred in Big? Tom Hanks, Apollo 11. I don't know.
11.
Apollo 13, whatever the movie was. I didn't see it.
Bulls, Celtics, 237.5. The suddenly on fire Boston Celtics. I think they're third or fourth in the Eastern Conference. We do have futures on Boston that win the Eastern Conference, so we're excited about that. 10-1, 11-1, something like that. And Jason Tatum, he coming. I think. We hope. The Bulls, they are big-time dogs here, 10-point dogs here in Chicago. Who's in and who's out for Chicago? They are missing some important pieces in this game, namely Josh Giddey. Josh Giddey not playing basketball as Jalen Smith. He's got that head. He's got a concussion, so he's unavailable. So we're expecting Trey Jones, Kobe White, Okoro, Buzelis. I'm sure you saw that dunk over the weekend for Buzelis. Wasn't he in the dunk contest? I feel like he was the dunk contest and didn't do well. But yeah, we know how athletic he is. And Vucevic is the expected starting lineup for Chicago. Zach Collins also not playing for the Bulls. As far as Boston is fully healthy, as healthy as they're going to be for the foreseeable future. Nobody that's meaningful that's played basketball for them this season is out for Boston. How do you feel with the Celtics and the Bulls?
Yeah, this one's not getting not nearly as much ownership as the previous game we talked about, but there's some pieces here to this game that are fine. You look at Jaylen Brown. In the NBA, I definitely like to look at some game logs, because I think your recent play matters. What's going on with your minutes and usage and all that recently, as much as anything. And Jaylen Brown's game logs are pristine for like 3 weeks now. Just
player of the month worthy.
Fantastic, man. So yeah, in a matchup with Chicago, I think he's fine. Derek White, another one who's got that in him, but like you said, healthy. So it's going to take like the luster off of all the other pieces outside of those two guys. It's going to take the shine off of those guys. Chicago, I'm just not that interested in Chicago here. You could go with Vooch, who's playing some good minutes right now, and that's fine. It's Boston, and you can grab some rebounds against Boston, and they're not particularly daunting on the inside. And he's become a 3-point shooter now, Vooch, so he's fine. I'm not playing Buzelis just because he had a nice dunk over the weekend, which was a nice dunk, but I'm not playing him in this matchup.
Pretty good.
Certainly not as interesting as the game we just covered, but I think you could do worse than taking a stab at Jaylen Brown as one of your superstars on your roster tonight, because you should be able to afford at least 2 big spend-ups tonight. Easily.
Yeah, 2.5, depending on what you have as far as your cutoff. I should have mentioned Kobe White is officially in. Oh, no, he's probable. Not officially in, but somewhat surprising that he's probable. But Kobe White looks like he's expected to play tonight, at least according to Chicago's injury report. I wanted to pull up the projections when it comes to ownership as far as this game. You mentioned this game not going to be as popular as the previous one, but yeah, Jaylen Brown, if he's just 16%, you talk about the floor he's offering of late. He's been phenomenal. That excellent game against the Clippers where he dropped 50 and he covered Kawhi. The story was apparently he texted, God, I'm forgetting the coach's name for Boston, Udoka. He texted him on the plane, said, listen, I want to cover Kawhi. And he covered Kawhi and he dropped 50 on the Clippers. And apparently Steve Ballmer was losing his mind because, that arena is, designed for everybody rooting for the Clippers. And they have the wall in LA where, it encourages the most frenziest of fans. Frenziest, that's not a word. But the point is that apparently a good portion of that crowd was rooting for Boston and Ballmer was losing his mind. Derek White also pretty solid if you can't quite get at the Brown. Bouzer was probably the best Bull at 5'9", but with White playing 25 minutes, 27 minutes is kind of where we're at. Dosunmu in the mid-20s, Herter, all these guys kind of in the mid-20s. It's hard to sort of pinpoint Trey Jones, which one of these guys will elevate. So none of them really project particularly well. But yeah, I really want to get Jaylen Brown. I would love to get Jaylen Brown here in this game. Did you have a thought as far as Peyton Pritchard? Lippy's asking us about Peyton Pritchard here in the chat.
Nah, he's a pass tonight. He's up to 7K. I can't. It's fine if I'll wait on Peyton Pritchard till either the price comes down or somebody sits for Boston and it boosts him up a little bit. I don't want him at 7K tonight. Like they just beat a really red hot Clippers team by like 30 points. They could probably dismantle Chicago tonight without Giddey and stuff. So I'm a little worried about that.
Travis is talking about Jordan Walsh, and like Boston just kind of has that fluid, like fifth or sixth guy that's sort of hard to predict. We saw it in nowhere. Walsh's minutes skyrocket last game, 30 minutes. As he was playing in the teens, they were kind of on the downslope. It's just hard to assume. It's hard to figure out. Amongst Hugo Gonzalez and Simons, like who amongst that group actually is going to elevate. But I generally just avoid it. I don't know. Do you have a Jordan Wall? I wouldn't assume he's going to play 30 minutes tonight because he played 30 minutes last game is what I would say. Is it possible? Sure. But we're currently giving him 19 minutes, which is, a median projection. Well, I'm not playing Jordan Walsh.
I'm not playing him, but he is aerodynamic.
He's aerodynamic? Okay.
He's like the swimmers. They shave all their hair off of from everywhere to be able to, so it doesn't hurt them in the water.
He could have been the next Greg Louganis if he wanted to be.
Well, that's not diving, Dean. We're talking about swimming.
I know. He could have been the next Mark Spitz. I don't want to go as far back.
He didn't even have to shave. He didn't have to shave his eyebrows, man. They're just already naturally gone. So he could be great. He could be great at that. But no, I'm not playing him tonight.
We got the Hawks.
Why are we gonna play somebody like that when we got this nuggy game we're gonna talk about later, man? This nuggy game is gonna be a gold mine, Dean.
It's supposed to be. That's what I'm told.
I promise you, it is. You just got to nail the right parts.
That's we'll talk about it. I hope you got to figure it out. I'm going to have you rank them for sure. Atlanta is taking on Toronto. We just saw this game over the weekend. 235.5 is the total. Toronto is a 3-point favorite versus Atlanta. We did mention earlier as far as Atlanta, they're going to be without Trae Young. Trae Young was out with that quad. Nard Dog, one of the questionables on the slate. Luke Kennard is officially questionable for whatever that is worth. Otherwise, they're about as healthy as they can be. Porzingis is back. We got him projected to play 20 minutes or so off the bench. A little bit of crossover with Okongwu. As far as the Raptors, Pirtle, the big man, is out. We did see Colin Murray Boyles start last game, but Sandro Mamukelashvili really smashed off the bench. He was the player he needed on that slate. We're still projecting CMB to draw the starts and Mamu to come off the bench, but I do think Mamu's an interesting tournament play if nothing else. And again, that's one of the reasons why he's just going to be lost. You can roster two of these guys on DK, but most people, more than 50% of the field, I think is going to have Paul Reed in their one of their center spots. In their center spot, there's of course utility as well. Raptors, Hawks. You mentioned Jalen Johnson earlier. He's a great stud in this slate. Scotty Barnes is an excellent stud in this slate. How are we feeling about Atlanta and Toronto?
I feel like, can we just already get Trae Young for Anthony Davis and get it over with? Can we just do that? Can the Hawks just move on?
Why would Dallas do that?
No, Dallas won't do it because
Okay.
that would be admitting that. First off, that would be admitting that you totally lost or you were totally wrong about the Luka trade, and they don't want to.
Well, they did that by firing the guy, I think, right? They took the L at this point.
I'm just like more so than what they bring back. I just kind of want to get Young out of that situation in Atlanta and let Atlanta thrive, man, with somebody else in there. Because Atlanta's a good young team. Like this Jalen Johnson kid, I always talk about him when we're on a show or when I do a survey. He's awesome, man. He's just like he's a good real-life winning player. He helps you win. He stuffs the stat sheet fantasy-wise. You can't beat it, man. So he's phenomenal. Dyson Daniels is a defensive specialist. If you catch an upside game from him defensively, stat-wise, yeah, you can get there. Maybe this is the one, against Toronto. Who knows? You got a lot of guys who are kind of loose with the ball for Toronto. Maybe Dyson Daniels picks it up. But with Trae Young out, Nickeil Alexander-Walker becomes a good play. He's getting up there in price tag. I don't know that, $6,900 on DraftKings is a bit much, but he's a good player now. And then on the flip side, we're getting some ownership here. Like not like Paul Reed levels, but on this Toronto team, we're getting a bunch of guys in double digits ownership-wise. So they're going to be a semi-popular little team tonight. Scotty Barnes, Brandon Ingram, quickly. Let me see. Quick, RJ Barrett, all going to get double-digit ownership, upwards of 15+%. And then you got Mamashvili, man. Dean Mamashvili coming off the bench here, or maybe starting. I don't know what he does. But he's just coming off a 50-point game. So, but it wasn't his only big upside game of the year. So you got to keep him in your player pool in GPPs because he's got that in him too. This looks like a really interesting, fun game to game stack on a small slate, and that's kind of where I would treat it. I'm not sure. Jalen Johnson is maybe the only guy that I want to pick off and just put on a roster solo if I'm doing 150 lineups. Otherwise, I kind of want to stack this game, or I don't want to touch it at all because I think there's a lot of high upside guys that can feed off of each other in this game.
Yeah, Mamu played almost 32 minutes off the bench. Murray Boyles drew the start. He played 25. There was some they played the both of them together at some point in that game. Obviously the absence of Pirtle, losing some size there on the inside. I think if you want to play Mamu, do you want him coming off the bench again? If he starts, he might pop a little bit. We're going to add more minutes to him. We currently have 26 minutes. If he starts, I would imagine that would jump up to like 28, and that would change his projection, of course. I kind of almost don't want him to start if I'm considering playing him, and he's in the pool. Do you have a thought on that?
Oh man, I don't know. Tough one. Typically, I do kind of side with coming off the bench for a guy like this, but he's also started some games recently and put up some monster numbers in those starts. So it's not like it's too much of a deterrence for him. But typically, I would probably want him coming off the bench and playing with lower usage guys when he's on the court.
Most popular player in this game currently, Jalen Johnson, 26%, Barnes, 25% on DK. And I do like the idea of running both of those stars, at each other in this game, in the same lineup. Ingram at 19%, Barrett 17%. He's kind of full now, mostly full. He's up to a 31-minute projection. And the price is pretty fair. I don't know if the price has caught up with that. You mentioned Daniels, the Great Barrier Thief. Sure, you can certainly always have him in your pool. Going home. At least, is he from Toronto? I know he's Canadian. It's a big country, so I'm not sure if he's actually from Toronto specifically, but I do like this game as well. Let's give the people another clue for today's Movie Monday, Chop, for you as well. The third clue is Bull. So it's Wonder, Big, Bull. Wonder, Big, Bull. That is our first three clues. Get in that Discord channel. Tell me who we are talking about. You get a week free of RG Premium. Next game, Chop, it's the Suns. The Suns against your Rockets. This is the 8 o'clock block. Kind of important. I think it's fairly important. Steven Adams is currently questionable. Rockets are 8-point favorites here. 222.5 is the total. Phoenix is playing the back half of back-to-back, and they are traveling. I mentioned Steven Adams. He has a specific injury is an ankle. He's got an ankle, so he's questionable. Şengün is out with his ankle. A lot of ankles going on there in Houston. I did see a report that they're not necessarily giving up an FEV being back this year, Chop. You never know. Freddie apparently is trying to come back this year for your Rockets, I presume, for playoff time. And by the way, I did see a note also that maybe the Wizards are interested in trading for Trae Young. Well, he would be a perfect Wizard. Just take 40 shots a night, make him interesting, I guess, but obviously not go anywhere. I wouldn't do that if I was Washington, but, maybe they would trade for Trae Young. How do we feel about the Rockets taking on the Suns? And how much do we care about Adams not playing? How much are we thinking about possibly saving a spot for a Clint Capella?
Not at all. And it's, I mean, no. I guess if we knew Steven Adams was going to be out, he would be fine. He would be in the player pool. But if Steven Adams were to play, is Clint Capella still in your player pool? I don't think so. And even if Adams is out, I think it's marginal. So I don't know, man. That one just doesn't really – maybe on a different type of slate, but we got so many good cheap plays to play tonight. I don't think that's where I want to go necessarily. So it'll be easy because on both sites, whatever, the game, the Phoenix-Houston game is 30 minutes earlier than the Denver game. So you should already have a lot of guys left over, like open spots on your roster anyway. Yeah. So it's not going to be a big issue. And then if you feel like Capella's the guy you want to plug in there because Adams is ruled out, you certainly can. But I mean, I tend to lean towards more with some of these cheaper Denver players than a cheaper Capella. Like we'll talk about them in a minute, but I really like some of these Denver guys for their upside tonight. Phoenix, I'm not that interested in. Devin Booker is a great play, but he's priced appropriately. He's fine. Dylan Brooks, kind of interesting because he's kind of vengeful, and they did trade him off.
Yeah,
they did trade him off, and so maybe he comes out like a firecracker tonight. He's been playing pretty good basketball lately. I give him that much. So you can go that route, but I wasn't particularly interested. I am kind of interested in the Rocket side of things.
Is KD vengeful?
Man, that's a good – I don't know that KD's as much vengeful as just like shies away from that confrontation. You know what I mean? I don't want to say nothing, but I think that's kind of like why he sat out that road trip earlier that went through Phoenix and forget where else it went through, that OKC maybe?
Wasn't that like a personal issue, or am I thinking?
Yeah, that's what they said, but I think the personal issue was I kind of don't want to mess around with these fans and, and I don't know. That's just me. So I don't necessarily think he's all that vengeful, but he does get a nice usage bump with Şengün out, and he's already playing good ball. So he's definitely in the mix tonight. Amin Thompson, I think, could have a really good game here. And so could Tari Eason. So I do like some of these Rockets. They could have a potential. A couple of these guys have potential to really blow up. Piece of me thinks maybe Reed Shepherd gets hot from the three-point range here and pays off that value. But then again, I kind of don't need a $5,300 player tonight that's scratching and clawing for 30-plus points. I think I can get that in the Denver game later. But I think for upside, Amin Thompson and Tari Eason are my favorite plays. And I think for a level of consistency, Kevin Durant is going to get a certain amount of points tonight, and that's just all there is to it. I just don't know how much upside he has.
Yeah, it's weird the way this slate is set up. It's like the cheap Denver players and then just stars. So, like, there's not a lot of players that are 5, 6K that really pop on this slate because of what's going on in Denver. But Steven Adams, is he interesting at all? 4-7? Not really. I think the best point per dollar play is Tari Eason for Houston. Really surprised he played 34 minutes last game. This is a guy who typically has had a minutes limit of late. They said it was 25 to 30. He overshot that. There were some injuries and stuff, or some blowouts, which kind of like you didn't really get a full run out of how many minutes he would actually get to play. But and also if we lose Adams, we're projecting 33 Tari Eason minutes. So he would be just an awesome play. I think he's a really good play, and it would be awesome if we happen to lose Adams. Capella would project again for 24 minutes, 26 DK, 27 FanDuel as a median. KD would be a positive play. Amin Thompson would get a little bit of a bump as well. Jabari Smith, a little bit of a bump, and even Reed Shepherd, like you mentioned. incremental bumps for those guys. But I think my favorite play in this game, all things considered, point per dollar, is probably Tari Eason. I'm not mad if I get the KD. I'm not mad if I get the Thompson. And I'm willing to play Capella if things crack a certain way. Willing to play him if we lose Steven Adams. And it's for I should have mentioned for the Suns. I should have mentioned Grayson Allen's back for the first time in like a month. So there's that, which hurts some of their wing players. Not that we like the Rockets. The Suns a heck of a lot in this game as is. Nobody's getting a projection essentially. Sure, you can play Booker if you want and like large field stuff, but he's not projecting to be better than Cunningham or Brunson or Brown. Other players, similar price points. Chop, anything else here, or shall we scoot along?
We can scoot along like a dog does on the floor when he has issues.
Is that what they're doing when they're scooting along on the? Is that means they go to the bathroom? Is that the tell?
Not the bathroom. I mean, something's bothering them down there.
Oh, okay. Well, do you want to? Is like an itch? Is that them kind of like scratching themselves?
No, I don't think it's even that. I think it's something else, but I'm not gonna get into it, Dean. It's
all right.
We're not here to give veterinarian advice.
You brought it up. I guess I had follow-up questions.
Yeah,
that's on me. Chop, are you protesting Movie Monday? You're not participating today.
Oh, it's just such a fast-paced show, Dean. I haven't got a chance to gather my thoughts. Wonder Big Bull.
That's fine. You don't have to play.
Okay. No. I gotta gather my thoughts. Carry us for a minute. Let me think about this.
Okay. You know what? I'm going to give you and the people a fourth clue. People are seeing our guy Butto is guessing in the YouTube.
That means I got four guesses coming in
if you
a
want
row.
to fire out four guesses, you can do that.
I'm machine gun them. I'm going to machine gun them guesses.
It's like rollover minutes. Butto is saying Red Notice. Now, Butto knows. Butto's been around long enough. Even if you're correct, and it's not, but if you were correct in YouTube, it does not count. That's not official. It's got to be in the Discord channel. I'm not bouncing back and forth. I'm just looking at the Discord channel. I want to give away a week free of RG Premium. But the fourth clue, Chop, this might help you, is Protect. Wonder, Big, Bull, and Protect. I'll have some bonus clues if necessary, by the way. I don't know if we'll need them. We'll see. But Protect is clue number 4. It is not Over the Top, which is a hilarious movie from the 80s. It's the greatest arm wrestling movie ever created. I think the only one, to my knowledge. Is there another arm wrestling movie? You've seen Over the Top before, Chop, I'm sure. I imagine.
Oh, heck yeah. Very good movie.
It's got to be terrible. I haven't watched it in like 25 years, but I would imagine. Chop, you nailed it on one guess. Look at you.
Oh, has anybody else got it yet? Though?
No, nobody else got it.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, somebody else has got it.
Bill T just got it.
Look at you, Chop.
Look at that, man. All it takes is a little patience, Dean.
There it is. Shout out to you. Bill T just got it. So there you go. We'll give up the fifth clue in a second. But we have a winner and 4 people in chat said the clues stink. They're not good enough. Well, they're good enough for one person, and that's all that matters. We don't want everybody to get it at the same time. Next game is Charlotte and OKC. The Thunder taking on the Hornets. The suddenly vulnerable Charlotte OKC Thunder, 6-5 in their last 11. They are playing the back half of a back-to-back, taking on the Hornets. They're 16-point favorites here. This feels like a W on layaway. Who's in? Who's out? OKC is resting. They're resting Caruso. Well, they gave him a back. I don't know. Caruso's got a back. Hartenstein's out with his strain, and Jalen Williams, the not great Jalen Williams, he's out with a heel. As far as Charlotte's, Musa Diabate is back. He's good to go. He's probable. Cockbrenner is still out with that elbow. Brandon Miller is going to go with his knee. He's officially probable. Plum Dog, the millionaire, no Mason Plumlee. He's out with his groin. Salon is probable with his ankle. And I think that's it. Did I miss anything else? I don't think so. But, yeah, PJ Hall, we're presuming he's back to the bench. They were without some bigs over the weekend. We're guessing Diabate jumping right back in the starting lineup. SGA is one of those big spends. The question with him is always, will he get to play? Will he get to see the fourth quarter actually on the court and not in the seats? Probably lines up like he's not, but you never know. The Hornets, they get paid too. How do you feel about the Thunder and Charlotte?
Yeah, I don't feel much about it. I do know Shams speaking of the devil, Dean, Shams just drops that Trae Young and his agents are working on a trade. to get him out of the Hawks.
Oh, baby.
Yeah.
This is good for my Atlanta futures, right? They can only get better.
Yeah. Oh,
they can only get better.
Yeah, for sure. So I don't
mind. What do you think it is? Do you think it's Washington? Who would they get from Washington?
No, not Washington. Why would Washington need to take on anybody
right now? They just want to feel like they're in the league.
Okay. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
They just want to participate.
Who knows? Who knows?
Trae Young's a good name to market to your fans.
Oh, for sure. Like there's definitely a huge. I mean, the majority of people out there who just casually watch the game think
great.
Yeah, think he's a really good player, and I don't know, man. I'm kind of torn on him. I know he's probably not a good real life player, but I did see him go into play. I have seen him go into playoff series and take over and win a playoff series with a team that shouldn't have won playoff series. But so I don't know, man. I'm torn.
He's
but
not
yeah,
bad. Yeah, I'm not trying to besmirch. I'm not trying. He's just not the guy I want to build my franchise around.
No, I want to build around him, but there's something to be said for guys who you can give the ball to in the playoffs and say, please, can you give me a basket?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he's one of those guys. But you're going to struggle on the other end on defense. But if you can offset that, anyway, yeah, it'd be good for you to get rid of Young for those Atlanta futures. That'd be good. But in terms of this game right here, man, I really have no interest in this game. I think Charlotte is a total, like, if there was such a thing as deleting a team from your player pool, like I would do in like football or baseball, you're facing like an ace. I don't want any hitter. Charlotte's that team for me tonight. I could delete them because this is at OKC with this defense coming off a loss. That's a big no thank you to me. And then OKC, really the only guy that stands out to me with the way they're set up and the way the salary is tonight is probably Jalen Williams, the good Jalen. That's about it. And that's a GPP play, but otherwise, I'm not even that interested in OKC in this game. This could definitely be one of those where you don't get fourth quarter run from your big names here.
I would also include SGA just because he could drop 60 in 3 quarters. The price is still pretty fair too. But I do agree Jalen Williams is probably my favorite. 7-3 on DK is a pretty fair price. In my estimation, as far as FanDuel, we're talking about 7-6, which is, again, pretty fair price, 10-8 for SGA. I don't think I'm playing anybody on Charlotte. It just doesn't seem necessary. Diabate's back, but his price is up, and then the matchup is bad. So it's not for me. Pretty straightforward. It's either Jalen or SGA, and I don't think I'm playing anybody else. You always talk about how one guy can get you there as far as the fringe players for the Thunder, and sure, maybe one player amongst, the next tier. We're talking to like Wallace or Dort or Mitchell, or Joe. But I don't want to play that game, and I don't think it's necessary to play that game and try to figure out who that actually could be or is tonight. It doesn't sound like you want to play that game either. You want to move on?
I do, but first, Dean, I'd like to say that beer is no longer going to be doing crunch time for us, Dean.
Beer got swapped out?
Beer got swapped out.
Wait, Tides? Hold on a second.
Instead, we get the one and the only TastefulTides going to be late crunching us.
Unbelievable. He's supposed to be on vacation. I thought he was on vacation. They pulled him off vacation for this?
Unreal. Man, what a worker, man. Hard
what
worker. What a hard worker. Oh, Dean.
Yeah.
What if it's the Sacramento Kings that are interested in Trae Young? That'd be another great Trae Young destination. That's the great Trae Young destination, the Sacramento Kings.
Can I bet a future on Trae Young at one point in his career playing for the Kings? Because that's like even money. He's going to be a king at some point in his life.
I got one for you, Dean. No link here. Like nothing's been linked, but I think this would be fascinating. You ready for this one, Dean?
Yeah.
If you don't have to give up too much, and obviously there's one name you're not going to give up. But what if you put Trae Young on the Bucks with Giannis and see how that experiment worked? Maybe it would satisfy Giannis a little bit and getting another guy who could score there. What are those two guys doing as a pairing in the playoffs? I think that'd be pretty interesting.
Who would they move? Who would Atlanta
some garbage? Somebody not named Giannis. Anybody not named Giannis.
No, really, but why would Atlanta trade for just a bunch of nonsense for they're not
because they realize it's a big contract and we're better without him. Let's just move off and grab a couple of role players and try to match these salaries.
CW makes a good point. They did that with Dame Lillard. Very kind of similar. I would argue peak Lillard better than peak Trae Young. And it was kind of mixed results there with Lillard. They didn't really have a chance to fully make it work with injuries and all that. But I don't know what Young's, what is his trade value? Is he
what if he ends up on your Miami Heat? Oh my goodness. What if it's Khalil Ware for Trae Young?
I don't want to do that.
Oh, baby.
I don't want to do that. No. By the way, Kennard officially in for Atlanta. I don't know where Miami is. Powell, by the way, has been awesome. He's talking about being an all-star this year. I don't know. I mean, look, there's always like 17 guys that could be all-stars. There's only 12 spots, so probably not going to be an all-star. But I guess he kind of deserves it. But that's, it's a numbers game. And you can't be that guy that says, oh, these 20 people are all-stars, and I'm angry about it, without saying who are the 8 you're going to cut, because it's just the math. You know that guy. Oh, he's an all-star. Well, they all can't be all-stars. That's just not how it works. I haven't gone through it, but maybe Powell's got a chance to be an all-star. I'm not sure, but I'm guessing no. All right. The Heat are a Jimmy Butler away from being a legit contenders. I see what you're doing there, J3.
I like it.
I mean, Jimmy Butler, he's got that expiration date, man. He can only stay in places for so long until he's notorious for wearing out his welcome. Speaking of which, we'll talk about Draymond Green and the Warriors later on. Denver and Philadelphia. This is the last game, the hammer game, and the DK slate. There are 2 more on FanDuel. We'll touch on those as well. But again, if you missed it, Denver and Philly, they're playing the back half of a back-to-back. They're punting the game off. Peacock is very angry. They're getting a terrible game for their broadcast. Denver 15-point dogs here versus the Sixers. Think of any player you've heard of for Denver, and they're not playing. They're not playing basketball tonight. Well, you guys know, like the 8th and 9th and 10th best players for Denver. The generic you. The entire starting lineup is out. No Joker, no Murray, no Cam Johnson, no Gordon, no Brown. They came back. Now they got a rest. And then backup center, Joe Val's out. He's got a calf. THJ, Tim Hardaway Jr., he's out with his illness. They're giving him illness/management. He's fine. But they're not letting him play tonight. So what we have left is 9 players standing versus Philadelphia. By the way, Philadelphia is healthy. Embiid's probable. It does seem like a game where they might just say, you know what, screw it, let's just save him. But it is an island game, so Philly didn't play yesterday, not playing tomorrow. We've seen Embiid in really good form of late. It seems like a spot where they can rest him, but I guess they're not. And then Peacock would be very angry. Imagine how angry they would get if they have actually lost Embiid. 9 players. This is the focus of the slate. We kind of talked about it, danced around it several times. I was trying to run some court IQ stuff, Chop, for this, but it's just kind of impossible because, like, none of these guys play together because when does a team have their 7 best players out? We're projecting Jalen Pickett, Bruce Brown, Spencer Jones, Peyton Watson, the most expensive player here for Denver, and Deron Holmes to start. Zeke Naji off the bench. We've seen him start before. Strother off the bench, Hunter Tyson off the bench, and Curtis Jones. That is Curtis Jones is a real person. I did Google it. I'm like, wait a second, that's a correct real. Curtis Jones is a real person.
He is an absolute microwave. He's from Iowa State, Dean.
Oh,
he's a microwave, man. Yeah, he can get hot. I don't mind. Yeah, I don't mind, Dean.
I didn't know who. I'm like, Curtis Jones. It seemed made up, just to kind of get hit the threshold of limited number of players. We got 9 for Denver, Chop. I need you to power rank. How many is too many? I'm seeing 3. I'm seeing 4 in some lineups. I think I'll have for sure. I'm going to have 2 in every lineup. Probably 3 and possibly 4 is kind of where I'm at right now. You tell me. You have any thoughts on Denver? How much is too much? What's the minimum?
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know about a minimum, but the maximum is whatever the site will allow, I think, is the max. Because other than Peyton Watson at 6,400, everybody else is so cheap. Like you're getting these guys for free, man. And I don't even think Peyton Watson is a bad play. He's definitely one that I would put near the top of the list for raw points here in this game for this team. Because I was impressed with him playing alongside of the other guys who were starters, the Murray and Jokic's, he's had some good games alongside of them. What's he going to do without any of those guys impeding him? He could be the guy that blows up here. You never know. So Peyton Watson, but Jalen Pickett is good. Bruce Brown, we kind of know what Bruce Brown is. You never know. The veteran, they could give him a bunch of shots tonight. I'm not as interested in him. I want the younger guys who flashed upside before they got to Denver, and so. Deron Holmes, a Dayton Flyer legend. When I tell you this guy was a good fantasy player in college, this guy could stuff it, man. He was one of the best. So
I think Deron Dayton Flyers stuff. Like, you watch the Dayton Flyers?
If they were on a slate in college, then I'll probably have some kind of knowledge of him playing, and he was definitely one of those guys. Yeah, he had some good stuff. Julian Strother, he's okay. He's probably a better real life player than fantasy, but. He's there tonight and he's only 3K. Like I said, Curtis Jones, I think, is very interesting at 3K. If he gets any kind of run, he lit it up at Iowa State. He's a good fan. He could be a good fantasy player. And then, going to round out with Tyson and Najee. So I think they're all interesting. If I'm going to rank them, we're basing it on salary. I'm going to say, oh man, upside is factored in here for me. I want Deron Holmes. Because I think there's big upside there.
He's your favorite player in Denver.
Oh man, I think he might be. We got a lot of guys missing. If he gets some usage, he can double.
Yeah, I thought it'd be Pickett or Strother.
Okay, let's go Pickett because of
you tell me. No,
I'm going to go Pickett because he's a little bit cheaper. Let's go Pickett. Just that 38 is pretty ridiculous. Pickett, Holmes, Watson. Only because Watson is so much more expensive than everybody, but I think he's their leading fantasy player tonight. There's 3. I'll go Strother and Curtis Jones, followed by Bruce Brown and Hunter Tyson. That's where I'll go with it.
Would we consider Najee? Is he somebody worth considering?
I think everybody's in consideration, but I'm not going to rank him ahead of these other guys. It wouldn't surprise me to see him end up at 28 DraftKings points, for 35, and that's a good game. But I'm going to bank on some of these other guys hitting that mark before him.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me if he starts either. We're expecting Holmes. So what 5 players close if this game is ugly? If it's out of hand, if Philly's up by 25, Hunter Tyson, Curtis Jones, probably Deron Holmes?
I think so. I think Holmes closes.
Either way, possibly.
Yeah. I mean, they spent the first round pick on him. They want to get him on the court and see some things, and here's a perfect opportunity.
Did he have an ACL or something? Is that what was he? I think no? I think it's somebody else. Did he not have
this year? Earlier this year with Denver? No, he didn't come out of college hurt. No.
Okay, I'm thinking of somebody else then.
No, I think Holmes probably closes. Just and like you said, Curtis Jones, Peyton Watson won't, Bruce Brown won't. Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah. Who knows? But
then again, Achilles, in 2024. There you go. I knew there's some kind of injury with him. He missed the entire season last year.
That's what it was. He missed last year, came out 2023, but they spent the first round pick on him.
Yeah.
So they respected him enough his game enough. They invested something in him. So I don't know. Yeah, if Embiid and Maxey play and Paul George and Edgecombe play, we probably will get a blowout, but who knows when that's going to come. This thing might still be semi-competitive through 3 quarters. I'm not saying that it's going to be a blowout right away.
The other question, who is Embiid going to get in foul trouble? I was thinking about that too. You got to figure Embiid can get Holmes in foul trouble, a young player, and then maybe Najee gets some run. There's really no size after that, right? They have Holmes and Najee as far as their size, so Embiid should be really good in this game.
Yeah.
Assuming he gets like normal minutes. This game could definitely get ugly and he maybe doesn't see the fourth quarter. But I think when he's out there, he's going to be pretty good. How do we feel about Philadelphia as potential run backs?
Yeah. I mean, Maxey's okay, but he's priced up. Edgecombe and Paul George are like the same player, basically. Same price tag. They're going to project pretty similar. And I think Embiid's my favorite one. But in terms of Embiid getting people into foul trouble, Embiid has to play a game where he is posting up to get people in foul trouble. Like he might just fall in love with that outside jumper tonight. That's what he does sometimes. So you know how Embiid is. He might not get anybody in foul trouble because that's the way he plays now. He's a little bit softer now, but that's okay. But he would be my favorite Philly guy because he's cheap enough and he's getting his minutes back up there, and he's probably licking his lips here tonight, looking at these matchups, man. So yeah, he'll be good. No Jokic. Oh yeah, he's good to go.
So the optimal stuff I'm running on FanDuel, no surprise. The most you can play on one team is 4. We're getting a bunch of teams. I keep scrolling. I don't know when I'm going to get to one that doesn't have 4 players for Denver. You're playing on FanDuel. That's what you're going to get. You're going to get 4 players on Denver. Not saying you have to do it, but probably what you're doing. On DK, you're getting 3 or 4 players for Denver. And the guys that are around it, we sort of talked about it. It's Denver and studs. I'm seeing our first optimal. I'll just say Denver, and then you're getting Embiid, Jalen Johnson, Scotty Barnes, Derek White. So that's like 3.5 stars. That's there's like not a lot of players in the mid tier. It's just Denver players and stars to star-ish type players. The next one has Jaylen Brown, Cade Cunningham, and Jalen Johnson, and then Denver, and then Paul Reed. I mean, this is the slate. This is what we signed up for today. Pretty straightforward. I'm in on Denver because they're so cheap and they have to play. If you can just kind of figure out who's going to play a little bit more than the others, I'm curious to see in that starting lineup. Probably going to get that 8:00. It's the only game in the 8:30 window on DK. There's a half hour after Charlotte OKC, and we don't really like that game a heck of a lot. But we should touch on the 2 FanDuel games before we yield to crunch time coming in about 8 minutes or so. 5th clue was scrolling. We're playing out the string here. Chop. Block was the 5th clue. You got today's Movie Monday, as did Bill T. First clue was Wonder. Chop, do you know how Wonder is relevant to the movie? You know the movie, you guessed it. So do you know Wonder, how it's useful?
In hindsight, looking at the clues, maybe Wonderlick.
No, I'll hold off on that in a second. But the main character, clue number 2, is they call him Big Mike. They call him Big Mike in this movie, is the main character. Bull is in reference to the star of the movie, Sandra Bullock. Wonder is in reference to, there's a certain celebrity that's famous, an incredible musician who happens to be can't see. So that's what that was in reference to. Stevie Wonder, of course, is blind. Well, if you go down certain rabbit holes, some people say he's not, but that's not.
He might be able to see, Dean. Be careful.
It would be the greatest bit ever if that was actually like true. If it was finally revealed like 80 years later, whatever it is. But not 80. I'm rounding up for some reason. But yeah, there are some people that don't believe in a conspiracy. Protect. You got to protect the quarterback if you're a left tackle. Protect the blind side, that is. Block and protect kind of go hand in hand. This, of course, Chop, it is the blind side. And why did I pick the blind side? I picked the blind side because yesterday on the football show, we mentioned All About Steve. All About Steve, also starring Sandra Bullock. The only person in the history, this is why you got to watch all the shows. You get little clues. Sometimes we'll do this. The only person in the history of the Oscars and the Razzies to win an Oscar and a Razzie in the same year. Sandra Bullock won a Razzie for All About Steve, 2009, and an Oscar for The Blind Side in 2009. So that's what we did there. That's how we got to The Blind Side today. Last 2 games on. So Roth says Halle Berry did it. Halle Berry did it, but in different years. She won it for Catwoman in like 2004 or so. And that was the Razzie, of course, not the Oscar. And then she won the Oscar for that Billy Bob Thornton, Diddy Combs. What was the name of that movie? You've seen it, Sean. Come on.
I forget the name of it.
Billy Bob Thornton, Halle Berry.
That was a good flick.
It's a good flick. Yeah.
Monsters Ball.
Monsters Ball. Yeah. That was 2001, I want to say. But she also won the Razzie and the Oscar, just different years. Jazz Blazers 242.5 is a total. This is FanDuel only. They're going to give you FanDuel specific stuff on crunch time here in a second. We have Portland as a 6-point favorite versus the Jazz. Who's in? Who's out for Utah and the Blazers? Well, I'll tell you. Well, you know what? I won't, because I accidentally closed my injury report stuff. Let me pull that back up as I stall and say words and scroll as we get to Utah and Portland. We found it. Ace Bailey's questionable. Kessler's out. Nurkic is good to go. As far as the Blazers, there's no Jeremy Grant. There's still no Scoot. No Drew Holiday. Robert Williams. Time Lord is in. Denny Avdia, your guy, projects awesome here. We love picking on the Jazz. I think he's one of the best studs in the slate for FanDuel. How do you feel about Portland and Utah?
Well, if you're on FanDuel, Avia is one of the stars you could definitely consider playing. Love some Avia, and yeah, he's going to get a lot of love here tonight in the projections. Shaden Sharp, nice price tag on FanDuel, definitely playable. Outside of that, I'm not a huge fan of this game. We got a lot of other players we could play elsewhere, and if you forced me and twisted my arm, my favorite Utah run back, it would be Markkanen tonight, but I don't think you have to have that. But Avia is a star in the same vein as Jalen Johnson we talked about on DraftKings, so I think those two make a good combination on FanDuel.
The Wizards could really use a guy like Denny Avdia. 36% on FanDuel. Sharp is the most popular player for the Blazers at 21%. Caleb Love is getting some love at 16%. And you mentioned Markkanen, 15% on FanDuel. Kind of an expensive price, 8.7, but he certainly could pay that off. Klingon is projecting pretty good also for centers. But if you look at the optimal stuff, the things I was running on FanDuel, it's all Paul Reed, basically. Doesn't mean you have to play him, but he's the very, very popular play. He had 86% of my lineups, and on FanDuel, you can only run one, obviously. Let's knock out this last game. The Warriors, Clippers, 222.5 in the total. In L.A., Warriors are 2-point favorites. Who's in, who's out for this one? Can't guarantee that Draymond Green is going to play 4 quarters with his recent shenanigans, but yeah, he's expected to play. No issues as of right now. He's currently, the Warriors have really, really clean as far as their injury report. Just Seth Curry. He's got sciatica, I think he has. I'm not sure what he has. He's not playing. He's out. And as far as the Clippers, James Harden, midday downgrade, questionable. If he doesn't play, Kawhi would be an awesome, awesome play. Yeah, and it's a matter of when are we going to get that news? Can you wait it out? You do have Utah and Portland to play with, and it's an hour-and-a-half gap. 8:30 is the previous game before that. So will you get Harden news? Probably not. Is he going to play? I have no idea. I don't have a good read on it, Chop. How are you handling the Warriors and the Clippers?
I don't particularly like this game at all. There's too many other spots on the slate that are better. And so, Kawhi Leonard has been playing lights out, but he's 10-5 over here. Like, give me Jalen Johnson and Avia easily above him. So the rest of the stuff doesn't do very much for me. So I'm not liking this game at all.
Yeah. Maybe just plug in Kawhi and he's fine and he can just get better. Like maybe that's a plan. He's a perfectly fine play if Harden plays, and if Harden doesn't go, he would pop. So maybe I would any tiebreakers with Kawhi, as far as builds with or without Kawhi, I would lean to the Kawhi side just in case because there's a potential upside. But I don't know if I'd put Harden in. Just a little bit concerned. And like you said, I don't know if I like this environment on the whole where it's even worth, the potential upside here. We do have crunch time knocking on the door. Going to jump in here in just a second. Before we do that, Chop, I need who's breaking the slate? Who is the slate breaker? Who do we feeling in the plums tonight?
Yeah, so I'm going to go with the Houston Rocket. And I think Tari Eason would be a little bit low-hanging fruit. He's awesome, and I'd put him there. But I think he's kind of popular or name of – so I'm going Amin Thompson. I think Amin's going to have a show up his mentor, Dylan Brooks. I think he's going to show him up tonight. I think he's going to try to. So I'm going Amin Thompson.
Did want to mention Pick Labs before we seamlessly segue over to Crunch Time. Pick Labs' newest Fantasy Labs feature lets you scan the best player, prop, and pick 'em bets in just seconds. Everything is broken down for you. It is dummy-proof. Gives you the edges and the win rates, values. Very clean board to look at. It shows you which plays actually stand out across not just sports books, but sites like Underdog and Pick Labs. When you see something you like, Pick Labs will go ahead and build the slip and send it straight to the book of your choice. Limited time now. You get free access through a Fantasy Labs DFS sub. Go to fantasylabs.com/pricing. Use the code FLEX20. That is FLEX20 for $20 off your first payment. Okay, let's do it. Let's bring crunch time right now. We got Noto and Roth. Roth, big Halle Berry fan. Apparently, that was a good memory, though. That was a good call. That was a good call there with the Razzies. You a big fan of the Razzies, Roth?
No, I just am actually a big Halle Berry fan. So,
did you see Catwoman? Were you the one?
Of course, yeah. It was phenomenal.
I mean, the movie, though.
No, terrible. Yeah.
The actual movie, not spectacular.
Not the leather outfit. Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Tim. Tim stepping up. Did not expect to see Tim today. Beer, I guess Beer is ill. He had the fish. Not sure what's up with Beer, but Tim, I'm sure if nothing else, Noto is happy to see you. He didn't want to get full on usage. Didn't want to give him the full man show. What's up, Tim? How are things?
Yeah, I mean, I know Noto could have handled it, but I saw the need and I stepped in. I'm playing NBA DFS tonight anyway, so I was like, yeah, I'll do the show with the guys.
Swordfish getting some love there in the chat as well. And again, nobody remembers that movie except for that one scene. That I see Roth, you are smirking,
dude. That is the movie and the reason why I love Halle Berry. It's because of Swordfish, and it's mostly because of that one scene. Yes. And
John Travolta had like really interesting hair, if I remember it. Like it's like slick back or something. He had different hair in Swordfish, but that's not what you remembered. I saw you smirking. No. Yeah. John, any thoughts before we step aside and get out of here and make way for crunch time?
Nah, let them do their thing.
Big Swordfish guy. All right, that was
slow down, bro. I mean, it means something else in some places.
I don't know what it means. I'm not going to Google.
What does it mean?
I don't know. Should I not?
Just leave on that note. Leave on that.
I'm going to Google, and I'll take my chances. That was Chop. I was Dean. Hit that like button. Don't go anywhere. Do subscribe. Turn on those notifications. 40 minutes. Taking you all up the lock. You got Noto. You got Tim. And you have Roth. Roth, take it away.
Good stuff, as always, and a fun way to end the show. Welcome to it. It is crunch time. You know the drill. Two of the sharpest minds in the biz. My guy Lippy said, "Where's the beer?" I'm sure Roth has a beer tonight. It is the return of Pacifico Monday.
About time.
Lippy, you know me well. And Noto, I got to give you a shout out. I think we did a show together on Friday. I think it was you, me, and TJ. I put up literally, as always, just built the lineup as we're on the show. Put up a 330 piece, 3x my entry, which as my entry is only $2, isn't all that impressive, but it's not what it's about, man. It's about winning and building good lineups. So thank you for the help.
Yeah, let's go. Look, I've done a lot of Monday shows with you. It's the first time you've drank on the show. So yeah, I'm excited for that. Also, just Urban Dictionary Swordfish. Don't need to talk about it, but if you're curious, go.
It is a thing. All right, that's good to know. It is a thing. Yeah, I've been off the Monday Pacifico train for a minute, but we're back on it. A lot of people do dry Januaries. I go the opposite direction. I like very drunk January. We got TastefulTides in the house, as we mentioned, stepping up and stepping in for beer. Thanks for joining us, man.
Yeah, man. I'm going on a little trip tomorrow. Going on vacation for the next 10 days. Got my bags packed, ready to go. So yeah, I mean, this is my last night of DFS for a little bit.
All right. Well, you can't tease us with that and not tell us where you're going. So what's the destination?
I'm going to a couple different places, checking out some poker tournaments and some cash games in various locations. Not too far from home, but nothing like crazy. Just going to play some cards.
That was so vague. You're driving around in the Northeast in New England and hitting up poker tournaments. That's what you're doing for 10 days.
Yep, pretty much.
God, that's amazing. Good for you, man.
That sounds great.
Yeah, that sounds phenomenal. Enjoy that.
And one of the reasons why is I'm not really sure where I'm going. Like, okay. I'm not even like 100% like exactly what I'm doing. So,
okay, yeah. That's incredible. I am jealous of that lifestyle, but that sounds very fun. Ruthless Villain says, taking a vacation to go win money. Gotta like that. But before we do that, why don't we get you started with, maybe you win you a couple grand tonight. And we'll get you out the door on a good seat, the right foot. How you feeling about this slate, Tim?
Yeah, I feel good. This is a pretty fun slate on both DK and FanDuel. Definitely some differences between the two sites. We do have that large piece of news in the Clippers game on the FanDuel slate, waiting on James Harden, which I believe was a midday downgrade. So that's like much more notable. And I'm kind of leaning, at least with my builds right now, that he's going to be out. But I mean, obviously, that's kind of up to people to decide what they want to do with that. But definitely. Some really important news there if you're playing FanDuel. The big stuff on both sites though is the Nuggets news. Just definitely so much value there. Optimizers, Sim, they're going to be giving you tons of Nuggets here. Three or four Nuggets in optimals right now. Really, just so much value. Got to be really careful. Got to be really careful, kind of like how you play the Nuggets, kind of like how you kind of determine like the minutes are going to go with that rotation, and kind of you have to take some risks in like super large field stuff about like, guys are going to be playing in a blowout, and guys who might be benched there if that game does blow out, because they are currently 14-point underdogs. So I think blowout is a pretty much it's a pretty big concern.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Well, I want to dive into the content, go position by position, site by site. We did get a question. Who is the best poker player at RotoGrinders? Were you ever a professional poker player, Tim?
I wouldn't say professional.
Dude, I feel like we've had some.
I would say that I do play poker all the time. Years ago, I played even more. I would say that I'm a very experienced poker player, but pro would be a stretch.
Yeah, I feel like we've had some people at some point who were legitimate pro
There's
players.
a lot of crossover between poker and DFS. Like a lot of, we're all kind of like similar ages. We all kind of started with the poker boom in 2003. So there's a lot of crossover between the two industries, like a large amount.
All right, we're giving you the semi-pro tag, and we're calling you the best poker player at RG, unless you can come with somebody else. But in the meantime, let's go ahead. Let's talk about the slate. Noto, you can start us off on DraftKings at point guard. What are we doing?
Yeah, so I'm curious to see what Denver's starting lineup looks like. But, I mean, Jalen Pickett kind of feels like a free square. 3,800 going up against Philly. Denver's missing, their seven of their 8 best players, something like that. So I'm just going to play the chalk there. Bruce Brown's here as well, not quite as high owned as Pickett. I think he's a strong play. And then with all the value from Denver, we're going to have a lot of spots to spend up. So I love Cade Cunningham going up against the Knicks. He's just had such a high floor all season. Those are kind of my top 3. It looks like ownership kind of agrees with me there. I'm worried about a blowout with OKC, but if you think Charlotte can be competitive, man, SGA could be very interesting. They're coming off of a bad loss last night. It was one of SGA's worst games of the season. So perhaps he bounces back in a big way. I like him in large field stuff. Maxi's been crushing. Like if you're playing for Nuggets and you want that game to stay competitive, I think Maxi or Embiid bringing it back makes a lot of sense. Maxi, the last 3 games, 59, 69, 65 fantasy points. And he just never garners ownership. So a guy that I like to play in tournaments. Outside of that, not really anybody on my radar. Derek White's kind of priced up. Brunson's got a high floor, but I don't like the matchup against the Pistons. Maybe Amen Thompson, but I don't really love the matchup against Phoenix. But Şengün out definitely helps his appeal a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Tim, your thoughts at point?
Yeah, so definitely Cade Cunningham is your best raw point play. I really do like him today. He's really easy to get to too. So he's probably like my favorite out of the point guard group. Really like Tyrese Maxey. Definitely, we're going to be getting tons of exposure to the other side of that game, hopefully, and we kind of hope that game stays close. So getting to Tyrese Maxey, I think, is fantastic in large field stuff. But I think Cade Cunningham is the significantly safer play between the two. Derek White, 8K. Really like that matchup against Chicago. Really bad defensive team. Really nice team total there for Boston. So I think Derek White is super interesting. Jalen Pickett at 3,800, definitely going to be in tons of optimal stuff. He's definitely your cash game guy. 3,800. You can play him at shooting guard. Same thing with Bruce Brown. They're both point guard, shooting guard here. So both really, really strong plays from a point per dollar perspective. And then there's a couple mid-range plays that I think might go a little bit under owns, and that would be Manuel Quickly at 6'6". Currently have him at around 15%. So by no means is he going to be super popular. I think he's super interesting. And I also think that Peyton Pritchard is going to be relatively low owned in a really nice spot. Currently have him under 10%. So I think he's a really strong play in GBPs, because this slate just in general is such a stars and scrubs type slate. So a lot of these mid-range guys that are a little bit more balanced are going to go, I think, pretty low owned. So I think that those like Quickly and Pritchard are really, really interesting plays.
Yeah, I really like the Amin Thompson call as well. I feel like I'm going to try to jam him in. Let's go to shooting guard, Tim.
Yeah, so shooting guard, I see that Noto has Kevin Durant as a core play today, which I really like. And he is going to be popular, but I don't think he's going to get super steamed. So I think 8,900 for him. He's small forward also. I don't think it matters a whole heck of a lot where you play him, but he might be better at small forward. But either way, he's a fantastic play. Really good price tag. Really, really good matchup with no Şengün there. So I think he's fantastic. I talked about Bruce Brown and Jalen Pickett. They are, they're definitely like core cash game plays. Brandon Ingram, I think, is really interesting. We like that Atlanta-Toronto game. So 7,600 for him, I think is really great. I was hoping that Kobe White was going to play more minutes, but I don't think he's going to. So I don't think we can quite play him yet, which is too bad. But he's definitely somebody to be kind of like watching out for, maybe in a different slate. Julian Strawther, he's another one of these Denver guys. He should be playing minutes in the mid-20s. He's min price. Another really strong value play for Denver. So yeah, it's shooting guard is not fantastic, but I think we have those strong plays that I mentioned.
Who's taking the shots on Denver? Like, I'm looking at these guys.
It's a really good question. I could see this game getting real ugly really quick, but they have to play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they might not reach their 107 team total, but it might not matter. They're so cheap. They have to play. Even if they put up, say, 90 points, they're still going to be in optimals. So
is there a guy that kind of grades out as a higher usage dude? I realize we probably don't have a lot of experience with these people, but is there one guy you're like, oh, he'll put up 15 shots?
I'd like to say Peyton Watson.
Okay. Someone said,
I don't know what Noto says about this. I think it would probably be Peyton Watson, but I really don't know.
Yeah, I was just looking at the first look, and there's not like the top 7 projected guys on Denver. None of them over 0.84 points per minute, which is really bad. None of them over 17% usage rate. They're all like the same per minute usage type of players. So it's really going to come down to who gets the minutes. And if you run anything on like the on-off tool at Fantasy Labs, like you can't really do it because so many guys are out that you're going to run into such a small sample size. So yeah, it's kind of going to be tough. I mean, I think you just take your shots. I'm going to play the starters more than anything, but I think any of the like top 8 guys on Denver could easily get there.
Okay. What are your thoughts at shooting guard?
Yeah, like Tim mentioned, I do have Kevin Durant tagged. You got the high floor there. He's had 45 plus in 9 of his last 10 games. No Şengün. He sees a 5% usage boost with Şengün out. And you get the little revenge narrative. I mean, I don't know how much that factors into models these days, but he's going to get up for a game against Phoenix. So I like him quite a bit. Mentioned Pickett and Brown, Strawther, all 3 of them, projecting for 27 plus minutes, 24 plus fantasy points. Outside of that, I don't have any strong takes. Like Booker hasn't shown much of a ceiling this season, although he hit that great game winner last night. Edgecombe is an interesting one. If you're playing a bunch of Denver guys, if you look at his game log, 43, 43, 50, and then he had 2 bad games, and then 40, 40, 40, 40. So he's been on fire the last few weeks. I like him more than a guy like Paul George. And then Kobe White, like Tim mentioned, I wish he would play more minutes because his usage rate's already pretty high, and then you get Giddey off the floor, and I think he could run into like a 32, 33% usage rate. I just don't know how many minutes he's going to play.
Yeah. Okay. How about small forward?
Outside of the shooting guards that we already mentioned, I always play Jaylen Brown. He's good for 50 plus every night. You get that matchup against Chicago. Once again, 16% ownership feels way too low. So he's probably my favorite right there with Kevin Durant. I like Peyton Watson. I think the expensive Denver guys are going to get overlooked. I think everyone's just going to plug in the cheap 3 or 4 Denver guys and not worry about Peyton Watson. So he's probably my favorite tournament play on the Nuggets. RJ Barrett's coming off his best game since coming back from injury. Good matchup for him against Atlanta. I think Chop mentioned Terry Eason is in the Plums play. So always gets a boost for me. That's it. It's small forward for me.
Tim, small forward?
Yeah, so if you sort by points per dollar, you're getting again all these Denver guys. I do agree with Noto. I would kind of lean into whoever we think is starting. We did get a comment in chat, isn't everyone going to be playing Peyton Watson? The answer is actually no. Everyone's not going to be playing Peyton Watson because everyone's just going to be playing the scrubs here for Denver. It looks like Peyton Watson is not showing up in a ton of optimals. It's really just 3 or 4 cheap Denver players and then all the other high raw point guys around with it. So I don't think Peyton Watson is going to be that chalky. So if you're worried about that, I wouldn't worry about Peyton Watson getting super, super highly owned. We talked about Strother. I just talked about Watson. Hunter Tyson is another guy that I think you could definitely add to your player pool. Somebody that could get run in a blowout. And we haven't projected for 19 minutes, but I could see a world where he gets more minutes than that. So just keep him in mind. We talked about Kevin Durant at shooting guard. He's obviously fine at either position, obviously great at either position. Jaylen Brown is my favorite raw point small forward, 9,800. We talked about this matchup against the Bulls. I think he's fantastic. I was hoping that Steven Adams would sit, and that way we could play Tari Eason. I think he's still okay. He would have been a lot better if Adams would have missed, but it looks like he's going to be playing, so I'm not as high on him. I really like RJ Barrett here against the Hawks. I think he is a really nice mid-range play. I don't think he's going to get. He's going to get some ownership, but he's not going to get tons. So I think he's really good for large field stuff.
Okay. Before you go to power forward, shout out to Dean, who dug into the numbers about who's going to be the usage guy in Denver. And he said Julian Strother is the biggest usage player on the season amongst the Denver players that are playing tonight at 20%. I didn't realize that. So that is good to hear. And that does back up what some of the people in the chat were saying. And he's stone cold min, right? He's 3K.
He is.
Okay. Well, I was going to not play him, and now I am because of that comment. Tim, what do we got at power forward?
Oh, you weren't going to play him?
That was going to be my fade. That was going to be like my sneaky change it up. But if he's the dude who takes 15 shots, then I sure as hell want to play him.
Yeah. So power forward, Jalen Johnson at 10K. This is the price where he should be at least 10K. He should probably be even more than that. I think this is a really good game environment. It's a 236 point total. It's a pretty close spread, so this should be a really good game for DFS. So I absolutely love Jalen Johnson tonight. He's pretty close to a core play for me. I'm not actually playing cash games tonight, but I'm only playing single entry. But if I were, I most likely have Jalen Johnson in my team. So he's fantastic. Scotty Barnes, $1,700 less than Jalen Johnson, but I really do like him a ton. He's another really, really strong play from that same game. So both of those two are the raw point guys. We talked about Peyton Watson at small forward. Obviously, fantastic. Either way. Hunter Tyson, he's another one of these mid-price Denver pieces. Talked about him at small forward. Again, he's okay. He should definitely be part of your large field player pool. I think Jabari Smith is super interesting in GPPs. He's going to be under 10%. I think that he's a pretty nice play. I actually kind of like him more than Tari Eason. So I think Jabari is a really strong play today and somebody that we can definitely add to our power forward player pool. I guess Colin Murray Boyles is okay. He's rating out decently, but I would prefer just taking shots on these Denver guys or the Houston guys that I mentioned.
Yeah. Okay. Noto, your thoughts at the 4?
My thoughts are you play Jalen Johnson because you should play him every night at this price point. He's had 50 plus in 14 of his last 15 games, which is wild. I mean, he could be 10, 5, 11. Yeah, we got plenty of value to work with. So he's my favorite for sure. I do like Peyton Watson, like we talked about. And then, I don't know, Isaiah Stewart's going to play big minutes with Durant out, but I don't feel great about it. Paul George has been pretty bad this season. Buzelis is interesting with Smith and Giddey out, but tough matchup against Boston. Kind of a clash of opposing styles there. You know, Boston's the slowest paced team. Chicago's like the second fastest paced team. So it's kind of a boost to Boston, downgrade to Chicago. Yeah, like Tim said, there's just not a lot here. So I'm probably just going to play Jalen Johnson and move on because I only build one lineup.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go to center. And this is maybe the spot I'm most interested in. What are you doing there?
Locking in Paul Reed as long as he, is a starter. The last time he started, played 30 minutes. His per minute numbers are great. I think he's at 1.35 DK, 1.41 FD per minute. So even against the Knicks, which isn't like a super great matchup, I think you just eat the chalk there. And then to be a little different on DraftKings, you can play 2 centers. I like Embiid quite a bit against Denver if you do think that game's going to be fairly competitive. I mean, they're missing Jokic and Big Val. So he could just dominate inexperienced front court there. Vucevic has been playing more minutes, but again, that's a pace down spot against Boston. You got Deron Holmes on Denver, who I think could be sneaky. And then Mamuk, he played 31 minutes, put up 50 fantasy points the other night. I think nobody's going to play him because there's so many good options. Good matchup against Atlanta too. Pirtle's still out. He's probably my favorite contrarian option at center.
Okay, very good. Tim, the people want you to vlog your vacation. It's a poker vacation. If he vlogs it, he'll be murdered. There's already some like mafia vibes around this, and I liked him. We don't want the mob to kill him.
Mafia vibe. How do we get mafia vibes out of this?
You're driving around to places you won't tell me. You're playing poker. You're like, well, I don't know quite where. It just seems very underground.
Well, no, it's gonna be at a casino, Roth. I'm just not exactly sure which one.
Okay. I was envisioning
there's no underground rooms or anything like that going on.
All right, that's what I was kind of picturing, but I'm clear that up.
No.
Okay, center spot. What do you got?
Yeah, so you're definitely playing Paul Reed tonight. Like, I don't really care which format you're playing. He's currently projected for the 5th most raw points of any center on the entire slate, and he's $3,800. So, like, I think we're just playing him today. I think the interesting question is what to do with Day'Ron Holmes at 4,800. Like he's projected for 26 minutes, around 15% ownership. He's again another one of these Denver value pieces. He's the guy that I have the least interest in, but obviously he could smash. Like I just feel like Philly's going to kind of just control this matchup, and I need to fade one of these guys, and I think he's going to be the guy. Now on FanDuel, he's even cheaper than what he is on DK, and he fills a power forward spot. So if you play over there, that might be a harder decision, and I think he's warrants more consideration on FanDuel. But DK, I think I'm going to play somebody else instead of him. I like the Mamu call by Noto. I think he's a really, really interesting GPP play. And then if you want to pay up at the position, it's basically Embiid or Towns, and I would give a heavy lean to Embiid at 8,700.
Okay, I've got a center question for you, and this might be insane, but this is who I'm playing. Clint Capella. Is this absolutely batshit crazy, or without Şengün, like when he went down, Capella got 27 minutes put up 35 fantasy points, though he had 7 stocks, which you can't count on.
Dude.
Is it crazy to expect that he gets big minutes again and puts up big numbers?
Did Adams play in that game?
I was going to say, was Adams
Yes.
in that game?
Adams was in that game, but Adams still is like almost a backup minutes, that they kind of capped him.
Okay, so yeah, Adams played 20. Or no, I'm not seeing Adams in there.
Oh, no. Was he out?
He's
So
in his
Capella,
game
I think,
log,
last played on the 3rd. So
Yeah.
Adams.
29th.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't.
Okay.
I was going to say, I don't think that he was in that game, but I wasn't 100% positive.
Okay. So don't do that.
I would highly recommend not doing that.
Okay. Thank
There's
you.
so many good values.
This is why I ask these questions. This is why y'all are the pros and I'm just the one asking. Okay. Very good. We went through center. We got to kick it over to FanDuel. Let's do that. Tim, you can start us off at point.
Yeah, so we add in a couple games here on the FanDuel slate. We include now Utah, Portland, Golden State Clippers. So it does make a big difference about which site you're playing on tonight. Yeah, definitely. It's still Cade Cunningham at 10-8. Very, very expensive, but I think he's really solid. If we get news that Harden is playing, that $9,300 price tag is quite low. So that's something to keep in mind. Like if we're looking up the news, like that price tag is quite low. So he is a good value if he plays. Derek White, I love here at 8,500. I think, we talked about that matchup. It's fantastic. I think Steph Curry, even against the Clippers, I think that price tag at 86 is really nice. Jalen Pickett, 4,100. He's your cash game guy. He's going to be running the point there for Denver. So I think he's definitely a guy that we're going to be getting to a ton over there. Peyton Pritchard, 6,800. I really like him on both sites. I talked about that. So, and then Chris Dunn, if Harden were to miss, he's an interesting value piece that I think would be a pretty solid play if we got that Harden news.
Okay. Noto, your thoughts at point?
Yeah, I love the Steph Curry call. Don't think a lot of people play him. I also like Keontae George over here. You can't play him on DraftKings. He's just been awesome. I mean, 50 plus in 7 of his last 10 games. Great matchup against Portland. If you're playing Denny, I kind of skinny stack him with Keontae. I like that quite a bit. Then you have, the chalk. You have Cade Cunningham, Pickett. Caleb Love's kind of interesting against the Jazz too. And like Tim mentioned, I mean, Harden being a midday downgrade is not great. So, yeah, I could see Chris Dunn playing some big minutes tonight.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go to shooting guard.
All right, you got Bruce Brown, Jaylen Brown. They're projecting the best of the shooting guards. I'm not really an RJ Barrett guy, but he did play well the other night. Yeah, it's kind of tough. I'd like to play Chris Dunn here if you can. If Harden's out, again, you have Keontae, who's my favorite tournament play over on FanDuel. Shaden Sharp's kind of interesting too, but I'll probably just play the Brown brothers, the Brown long lost brothers.
Okay. Tim, your thoughts at shooting guard?
Yeah, Jaylen Brown, fantastic at 9,900. He's one of the better raw point plays on the entire slate. So I absolutely, I think he's great. I talked about Harden. He's too cheap if he plays. Don't forget about, I should have mentioned him at point guard, but he's point guard, shooting guard, doesn't really matter. Emmanuel quickly at 6,900. I think he's great. Bruce Brown is definitely one of these value options that we should be getting to a ton here in that Denver game. I talked about Chris Dunn, who projects pretty decently even with Harden in projections. So I think he's someone to consider as like a contrarian value piece. Trying to see who else who I kind of like enter in here into like a GPP pool. Shaden Sharp. He always is highly played over on FanDuel, but he's too cheap, so it makes sense. I think Dyson Daniels at 7,900, he's definitely going to be really contrarian. Should play big minutes, and he is a stocks guy, which is more helpful on FanDuel. So I would definitely be including him in like a 20 max, just because he appears to be too expensive, but I think he really does have a lot of tournament upside.
Yeah. Okay. Small forward, I believe.
Yeah, so we get Denny Apvia on FanDuel, so he definitely is someone to kind of. It's hard to kind of determine if you want to go Apvia or Jalen Johnson. Optimizers definitely prefer if you go Denny Apvia over Jalen Johnson. It's super close. He is projected for more points, and he's $500 less than Johnson, but it's a close one. So if you're playing cash games, I would side with Denny here. But tournaments, it's tough because you also have Kawhi Leonard at 10-5. Like Denny, Jalen Johnson, Kawhi Leonard, Jaylen Brown. Like this whole position is like super loaded, and this is kind of gonna be like, you better get this decision right because it's all going to be about cheap Denver and then like essentially like these four guys. It's really tough. I mean, I don't know. Like if Jalen Johnson's going to be this much lower owned than Denny, then I think it makes a lot of sense to spend that extra $500. But in cash games, like I said, it's going to be Denny Apvia. And then if you go any lower, I think Kevin Durant is super interesting over on FanDuel. Same thing with Scotty Barnes. Don't forget about Peyton Watson. He's going to be more popular on FanDuel than he's going to be on DK. He's only $6,500 on FanDuel, so it's a little bit better of a price on the FanDuel slate. And he's going to be more popular. But those spend up options here at this small forward, power forward it's going to be really tough to kind of figure out exactly what you should be doing there. But in cash, I think it's Denny.
Okay. Noto, your thoughts at small forward?
Yeah, I like Denny. I like Jalen Johnson. If you can play them both, great. If not, probably lean Denny, but it's pretty close. You have the Denver guys, Brown, Strahler, Watson. The one guy we didn't talk about on Denver, Spencer Jones, like he's not projecting for any ownership. We've seen him put up 30 fantasy points with an 8% usage rate. So if he gets up to 20% usage, I think he could be interesting in large field stuff. Outside of that, Kevin Durant's much lower owned on FanDuel than he is on DraftKings. You have the Kawhi. If Harden ends up being out, I think that's kind of an interesting play. Jaylen Brown. There's just so many good spends here. So, yeah, I'm kind of looking to save at the other spots and then spend up at small forward, power forward.
Let's go to power forward then.
Out of the same names, Denny, Peyton Watson, Jalen Johnson, Kawhi Leonard. You do have Duran. I don't know if it's Duran or Darren Holmes, but he should play some big minutes tonight. And then I'm not really looking to get too different at this spot. So those five are kind of really the only guys I'm looking at.
Okay, Tim, quickly power forward. We got 10 minutes left.
Yeah, so a lot of the names that we've already mentioned, I do think that you can definitely throw Cat into the mix. I think you could throw in Lauri Markkanen into the mix here. It's really just those premium spend up guys though in cash games. You could include Tari Eason, and then Duran Holmes at 4,600. I think is okay. He's not my favorite guy, but because he does give you that power forward eligibility, and he's a little bit cheaper than he is on DK, I think you could definitely play him. He's my least favorite out of these value nuggets guys though.
Okay, center,
yeah, it's very similar to what it was on DK. You're still playing Paul Reed.
Yeah.
I really don't think that's changed a lot. We do get Klingon though at 6,500, who I really like in FanDuel tournaments. So I think that's a good price and a pretty good matchup. Should play 30 minutes. I think that's very, very strong, and I don't think he's going to be super chalky. And then Embiid is the spend up guy, but I think that's pretty ambitious. I think there's better ways to play this slate. So Embiid only in like really large field stuff.
Okay. Noto.
Yeah. Paul Reed really stands out. Klingon's interesting too, but Robert Williams is playing. Yeah, I don't know. Mamuk's only 5,100 over here, so a little bit more playable. And that's it for me.
Is Reed the chalkiest player, or is it going to be one of those nuggets? I mean, 60% projected own is huge.
It's going to be Paul Reed. He's going to be the highest owned player on both sites.
Can you fade him? Is it crazy?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Okay, that's a lot. Okay, very good, guys. We have 8 minutes or so until we hit the old lock. Let's take some QQs. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit us with the thumbs up. It is free content after all by 2 of the sharpest minds in the industry and 1 person who's just a weatherman. Nobody knows why I'm here. Let's see. Jim says, hey, Tim, I got 7,900 left in the util on DraftKings and a GPP. Who should I play?
7,200 left in the util in FanDuel or DK?
DK.
7,200. That is a tough. Man. Pritchard.
Okay, very good. Rhino says, if I can, I have a question for both. Sure, we'll let you do it because you're in the Discord where the cool kids hang out. Tim, who is your must in FanDuel cash?
Paul Reed.
Yeah. And then for Noto, rank these 3 for FanDuel single entry. Johnson, Abdia, Leonard.
Oh, man. I'm going to assume Harden is out. And I'm going to go Denny, Kawhi, Johnson.
Okay, very good. Let's see. Holmes, I have 3 other Nuggets or Adams on DK for single entry. Noto, Holmes or Adams, DK single entry.
I'll take Holmes, but yeah, I do want to see that starting lineup.
Okay. Tim, back to you. DK Cash, Barrett Towns or Durant and beef stew?
For Barrett and Towns, was it?
Yes, Barrett Towns or Durant and beef stew.
Oh, man. I really think that people should be playing Durant in cash. I don't know about beef stew, though. I guess I'd still go Durant.
Okay. Tim, do you like Jaylen Brown today? And is Watson a lock in DK Cash?
I love Jaylen Brown today. I don't think Peyton Watson is like an absolute lock in cash. I think it's fine if you want to play him. I certainly wouldn't fault anybody. You have RJ Barrett right there. Very similarly projected. I don't think Watson is a stone cold lock for cash. I think he's fine though.
Yeah. Okay. Noto, even though he's still expensive, do you like Maxey, who will be lower owned? I'm not sure compared to who. Maybe that's compared to Cunningham. And if you could only choose one, would you prioritize Denny or Kawhi?
Yeah, I do love Maxey for tournaments. And then, I'll take Denny, but you can kind of play that one by ear. If you need to make up some points, maybe go Kawhi at the end.
Okay. DK Cash, Noto, you want KD or Sleepy Embiid?
I will take KD. He's just been so good, such a high floor.
Okay, I think I misread maybe Jim's question. It was 7,900 left. This was earlier. 7,900 left at the util. Did I say 72?
You did.
I'm sorry. My bad. Sorry, Jim. 7,900 left. DK GPP.
Amen or Brandon Ingram. I think I'd go Brandon Ingram and eat the 300. But if it's Amen or Brandon Ingram there. I think I'd go Brandon Ingram.
Okay, very good. Right back to you for another one. Jim, that's my bad on that. Sorry, by the way. Test says Barrett, Watson, or Buzelis Edgecombe, DK single entry.
First one.
Okay, very good. Got some questions coming in the YouTube as well. Let's get to some of those. Noto, do you think Grimes is a good play tonight?
I don't.
Easy enough. Thoughts on LaMelo Ball, Noto?
I don't know. He's just not playing a ton of minutes. It's just hard to click his name over all the other stars tonight.
Yeah. All right. Mal says, Tim, you want Vooch or Brandon Ingram at the util on DK?
I would go Ingram.
Okay. DK GPP from Justin, KD and Watson or Cade and Holmes, Tim?
You said Cade and Watson and who?
Sorry, it was KD and Watson or Cade and Holmes.
The first one.
Okay. Noto, keta, or beef stew?
I'm not on either, but first one.
Okay. Right back to you, Noto. Maxi or Cade, DKGPP. We have 2-ish minutes until lock.
Yeah, I like both. If you can do something with the savings, I might go Maxi if you're playing a bunch of Nuggets. Large
Okay.
field.
Tim Angela says Pickett or Brown?
I guess it's probably Brown.
Okay. CW says any Kenrich Williams, Tim?
Yeah, that's I've seen his name come up a couple times in chat. I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. Noto, is there any reason that we should be playing Kenrich Williams? He's projected for 14 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I was seeing too. I don't think we should, no.
Okay, I was just making that because this is the second or third time I've seen him in chat, and I didn't really understand that one.
Yeah. Okay. Tim, a couple more questions here, right coming in before lock. RC player DKGPP, Eason or Spencer Jones?
That is I think it's Eason.
Okay. Noto, DK's single entry. Is it wild to fade the Paul Reed chalk and kind of wait out the Nuggets lineup news? I've got some leans that I need a little more time on.
It's not wild to wait for the Nuggets, but it is wild to fade Paul Reed tonight.
Man, I don't know. Yeah, all right. You are smarter than I. FanDuel Cash, Jaylen Brown, RJ Barrett, Noto, or Durant Sharp? Jaylen Brown, RJ Barrett, or Durant Sharp? If you hear screaming in the background, that's my children. Sorry.
I think the projections are going to like the Brown side. Wait, who? Jaylen Brown and Sharp together? Or,
it was Brown and Barrett, or Durant and Sharp.
Yeah, I like the second one, but I think the projections are like the first one.
Okay. DK Cash, Tim, over to you. RJ Barrett and SGA, or Jaylen Brown and Watson?
Second one.
Blink says I'm fading the whole 7 p.m. Eastern games, probably games. Will this help make me different in most large field DK tournaments?
Yeah, that automatically takes you away from Paul Reed, so that's gonna be really different. I don't love the play though, but I mean it could work.
Yeah. Shout out. I had no idea what that sound effect was. That means we've hit the lock. I do want to shout out our good buddy Jay Sams, who's been hanging out with us for a long, long time in the Discord, and has had a solid day yesterday. Just wanted to once again shout you guys out for all the hard work. Yeah, I forget how much he won, but he hit us up with the tweet, and it was a very, very solid amount. So congratulations, Jay Sams. We always love when you guys hit, and we appreciate you giving us a shout out as well. Hope everybody has a good night, and as producer Steve mentioned, win some big money tonight. We're going to clear on out of here. So for Tim, for Noto, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes, guys, we appreciate you. We love you, and we will catch you tomorrow. You have been